Welcome to Module 2's writing exercise, which focuses on introductory paragraphs. Like the thesis statement, the introductory paragraph can be challenging. In fact, many writers choose to write them last, once they have the rest of their essays completed. As a developing writer, you will soon discover whether you like to write them first or leave them for the end. For our purposes, introduction should be fairly brief, around 5 to 7 sentences, and should generally avoid quotations from scholars and other similar evidence. Such information is very important, but should be saved for the body of the essay. The most important function of this 5 to 7 sentence paragraph is to frame your thesis statement. Think of introductions as the scaffolding on a building, supporting its structure and foundation. The thesis statement is, generally speaking, the final sentence in your introductory paragraph, and the information that precedes it serves to give it context and meaning. Visually, you can think of the introduction as an upside-down triangle. At the top of the triangle, where it is its biggest, you have your most broad ideas. As the triangle narrows, your remarks themselves become more focused, eventually culminating in your argument, as expressed in your thesis statement. While the first sentence of an introduction is broad, it should nonetheless contain some focus. One of the common pitfalls people make is that they begin on too general a note. For example, since the dawn of time, people have wondered about the nature of human life. Overly general statements such as this ought to be avoided. Another thing that strong introductions tend to have is a sense of tension or paradox. Presenting your own ideas in the context of different perspectives is a great way to show the stakes of your own argument. We will see an example of this below. Lastly, an introduction ought to begin by seeking to hook the reader. Now, please don't lose too much time thinking about attention-grabbing statements. Indeed, it is better to formulate a thesis, to compose your essay, and then to return to this task at the very end. But it nonetheless remains a fact that good introductions really arrest the reader's attention and motivate her to continue reading. Consider the following introductory paragraph. After the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks on New York's World Trade Towers and the Pentagon, the debate surrounding racial profiling in airports intensified. Many people believed that profiling was the best way to identify possible terrorists, but many others worried about violations of civil liberties. While some airports began to target passengers based solely on their Middle Eastern origins, others instituted random searches instead. Neither of these techniques seems likely to eliminate terrorism. Now many experts in the government and in airport security are recommending the use of a national ID card or safe traveler card. If every U.S. citizen had such a card, airlines could screen for terrorists more effectively than they do now and avoid procedures that single out individuals solely on the basis of race. Notice that this introduction avoids scholarly quotations, is about 5 to 7 sentences, and isn't overly general. It also begins on a very provocative note. The author's narration of the September 11 attacks and their giving rise to racial profiling procedures immediately catch the reader's interest and encourage her to continue reading. Notice, too, that these introductory remarks contain a sense of tension between two competing interests. In this case, people supporting civil liberties versus those more interested in national security. The author mediates between these two positions in the second to last sentence, which serves to set up the thesis. She talks about the stakes that the topic involves and attempts that have been made to protect national security and freedom. The author then articulates her thesis statement, which solves an outstanding problem posed in the paragraph and obeys all the rules pertaining to thesis statements that we considered last module. If every U.S. citizen had such a card, airlines could screen for terrorists more effectively than they do now and avoid procedures that single out individuals solely on the basis of race. Introductions are a challenge, but they are important for effective college writing. Good luck as you set off to write your own, and as always, please contact me at any time for any questions you may have. I look forward to reading your introductory paragraphs this week.